Do you catch yourself hiding parts of who you are, hoping nobody notices? Maybe it's your temper, maybe it's your anger, maybe it's your ambition. Some people were literally taught that being too happy, it's not okay or safe. I'm Victoria, and this is where you remember how beautiful you actually are. I post weekly, and if you're interested to dive deeper into the subjects I'm talking about, I host live calls every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. If you find this episode helpful, please subscribe and like or comment. I just started my channel, and all of those mean so much to me. And if you find this information helpful, please share it. I would love to spread the idea of how to love yourself more to anyone that needs it. But let's get into our episode. Today we'll be talking about self-acceptance. And self-acceptance, it's a foundational level because you start being aware of your patterns and behavior and you start seeing them without flinching. So the parts of you that you've been hiding and maybe even trying not to look at, you never got rid of them. And to be more precise, they actually are running your life behind the scenes. I am a big believer that integrating parts of us that we call it shadows, or we sometimes we label it something wrong or they're not good. It's more effective than deleting them or fixing them. And it looks like it's not just nice and poetic, it's backed up by research. Even the Carl Jung's work shows that the shadows that you are rejecting, they're parts of yourself that you're rejecting, end up running your life from the dark. I see it more as you judge this parts of you and you put them in a room and close the door. And that is why I believe it's so imperative to understand instead of trying to fix them, incorporate them. And this is what we're going to be talking in this episode, how to open that door and how to step through. And you might think, well, if I accept everything I do, I will never improve, I will never move forward, I'll never get better. And that is not true because there's a correction that comes from self-love and there's a correction that comes from judgment. And self-love, it doesn't mean you accept and giving up on yourself. Self-acceptance means you truly, finally are willing to look at what's standing right in front of you. And you see it with clarity, not adding stories, not spinning, just observing it and understanding why. Because when you understand why what stands in front of you is there, it's easy to understand how to move with that. Let's do this. I will speak a little bit to what it looks like, self-acceptance, so you understand how this might look like. And I will have 3 questions for you. So you can, and you don't have to answer loud, you can answer them for yourself in your head. The only one that's going to know about the answers is you, but you can see if you are here or not. What it looks like. So you start, and I have notes, you start looking at when you do something. Do you see in the immediate judgment? Let's say maybe you even did a good thing. Do you have a judgment afterwards coming in? Is the inner critic there? And when you start noticing the inner critic, so you just notice that this happened and then that judgment came right after, that is the dialogue in my head. Perfect. You're on your way. It could look like you start separating your self-worth from the achievement, from the job. From in this phase, you're still wobbly on that. It can go on and off. You understand that your self-worth is not out there. And sometimes you feel good about it, and sometimes you get caught up in that. Again, you're perfect where you're at. Maybe you start asking yourself, what do I need, not just what they need? Do you see the shift from self-rejection when all you care to take care of everyone's needs but your own because you thought that is what you need to do? Now you start asking yourself same questions. If you do make a mistake, and I put that in quotes because I don't believe necessarily mistakes exist. I think it's all data. We all need to go through certain things to learn certain things. Now you don't completely collapse into this spinning of you're not good, you're not enough, you don't know what you're doing, you're just not going into the complete collapsing in it. And maybe you start even playing with settling boundaries, see how that feels, saying no, saying a no and feeling guilty about it, but you still practice it. You start playing and being curious about your own reactions, pattern, and behaviors. Again, beautiful place if you hear or in any place you find yourself. All of this is data. All of this is for your own growth. So here are a few questions that you can answer. You can pause the video in between questions so you have time to answer them for yourself if you want to. Question number one. So let's find out right now in your head. Where are you? When you mess up, what's the sentence that shows up first for you? Is it about what you did or who you are? And you can pause here. Question number two. Is there a part of you that you manage or hide around people? And what is that part? And they can be multiple parts. That's okay too. And you can pause here. And question three. Are you still waiting to fix something about yourself before you like who you are? And you can pause here. If any of those hit something, that's not a problem. It's just the door opening, and now you see exactly how to get through that door. And it's very interesting because question number three brought the most awareness for me where I'm standing. I'll give you a little story about me. I was doing a lot of work for the last 2 years, very deep work, healing, integrating shadows, finding shadows, seeing, understanding my behavior, my pattern, my core beliefs, all of it. The moment I realized that I am doing all this work, but my self love, my self acceptance was placed on a calendar somewhere in the future when I'm done healing, when I'm fixed, when I'm integrated, whatever terms you'll use. I put it in the future. I realized that is where I'm not completely in self acceptance. That is where I'm still playing with the self rejection level because I didn't like myself now. And I was all okay with the idea of me in the future, but not now. So that is a very deep one. And it's an interesting because sometimes even healing can trap you and you can think, oh, I'm doing all this and it's going to be in the future. But do you like yourself now? Because that's what is acceptance. It's about now. And there are few very interesting tools to play with. One of them is the work by Byron Katie's process. It's a beautiful exercise to bring awareness, to bring acceptance, to see the things, to shift how you see things. And I can play with you on those, or I'll leave this exercise for the live. Come join live so we can play with this tool. It's a beautiful tool. It truly shifts how you see stuff. Another tool idea is a shadow inventory. I heard about it and I thought, oh, this is a very interesting one. It is a structured journaling. It's a framework where clients list qualities that they judge the most in others. And then they trace, so you watch that pattern that you judge in others, find it in yourself, and it's always traced right back to you, and see where that part was disowned or judged or not accepted by you. This is a very deep, very, very powerful work. And it takes a lot of honesty to do it, but it's worth every single second of it. And none of these tools are mine. So these all tools, I found them through research and through learning more and applying them to myself too. And why the tool of shadow inventory works well? Because there's things that we don't like in others that we think we don't like them because different reason. But if you start asking a few questions, you'll notice that there is something that you present. So it could be a shadow, or it could be something that you don't allow and you want to. For example, if somebody you think or you judge them as talking too much or they're opinionated, maybe you find parts of your life where you don't allow yourself to speak your own opinion, or where you tend to close yourself, make yourself smaller, and not share it. You don't feel safe sharing that. And that's an example to understand how to play with those, because it's an interesting play of how we project what we don't like in ourselves into others. And it's an interesting play how we don't allow ourselves to express our patterns that we would love to, and we judge those in others too if we really repress them. So do your own homework if you want on this. They're very powerful, very beautiful. When you do that, that is the door for you to step into full acceptance. You step into this level and you own it, and you'll see how your life changes. Not necessarily on the outside, the way you wake up, the way you go through life, the way you react, the way the things show up. And sometimes you'll not even recognize yourself knowing that I thought I am that person, but now I react so different to what I would have reacted last week or last month. Maybe even make notes, journal a little bit about who you are now to see how you react in the different situations, and take a note to see in a month how you react, because the impact, it's so profound. And I did it for myself. That's how I know it. I worked on that. I saw myself changing traits and patterns and behaviors that I never thought I could change, because I thought that's who I am. And understanding them, that when those patterns show up, it's because somewhere in my life they had a job to do. And that now I don't need them to do the job, but they have to do the job. And on that note, I'm just going to add one more thing. Another tool that you just stretch yourself and almost develop like a muscle is increasing capacity to sit with discomfort and without fleeing into distractions. The idea is, if something happens to you that you feel uncomfortable, let's say you put the boundaries. Let's take that side of this self-acceptance. You put the boundaries and you said no to something, and now you feel guilty. That inner critic, that voice shows up in your head. Instead of distracting yourself or trying to soothe that feeling, you just sit with it. And how does it look like? You just breathe into your body, you arrive into your body, you arrive into the present moment. You feel your feet, feel your hands. You can move your body, just feeling it, not to distract yourself, but really arrive into your body and relax. Relax your belly, deep breaths in, deep breaths out, and just stay there and see what happens. Play and see. The magic happens when you do it yourself and not just hearing. There's so much knowledge out there, but knowledge means overwhelming after a certain point. But when you start doing it, that is where true changes come in, where you see it with your own eyes. You notice it with your own mind, with your own witness consciousness. That is what the beauty is. That's where everything starts moving. Thank you so much. I hope you found this very helpful. Just a reminder, I host live calls every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Subscribe, like, comment. Tell me where you at. If you want to share the questions that you answered, are you in this stage or not? Are you in this level of the spectrum or not? Maybe playing in between self-rejection and self-acceptance. What part of your life is in self-rejection or self-acceptance or even higher? Right? Different parts of our life can be found in the different places of self-love. Let me know. I'm so interested to hear from you. This is not a channel just me to share information. This is for me to learn from you as well and to see how I can help you even more. I will see you in my next one. Bye.